Question, real estate in California. What the Seriously, can someone help? What's an escrow? What's an ARM? What is an REO? What is pre-approval? Can I get pre-approval? Why is inventory so low? Why are interest rates so high? Oh, interest rates not so high? How low is low? How not so high is right.
Before you go down the road of questions, get expert help at championsofhome.com. California Association of Realtors. Who's your realtor?
The Marin County Fair is back July 1st through 5th in San Rafael, and this year's theme, Stars, Stripes, and Stories, makes it one to remember. As America turns 250 and Marin County marks its 175th anniversary, the fair is bringing the whole community together for live concerts, nightly fireworks over the lagoon, carnival rides, fair food, and special activations, including a scavenger hunt and a community paper patchwork quilt. Discounted tickets are available through June 30th. Visit marinfair.org for info and tickets.
Danny DeVito, live on stage, hosts and narrates Matilda, live with the San Francisco Symphony. Watch the beloved film on the big screen as the orchestra performs the score live with the movie. Kids' tickets are half off. Matilda Live with the San Francisco Symphony, July 25th and 26th at Davies Symphony Hall. Tickets at sfsymphony.org.
Is that a face? I'm waiting for my boyfriend to respond. He's not. He gives me a little, It's his lovely way of saying, I'm listening, but I'm not really listening, so maybe give it another go and draw my interest. I turn. He's reading a magazine in the recliner, looking like I want to look. Relaxed. Babe, seriously, look at this jellyfish. Tell me it doesn't have a face? He reluctantly puts down the magazine with a little sigh of a groan and gets up to look. Right there. Look. Is that creepy or what? Oh, right there? As he bends down to make a fart noise with his mouth against my cheek. Very mature, babe. I love him more than anything for moments like now when he turns my despair into delight. But I really want to show someone this photo so I don't think I'm a lunatic. He whips his head up and takes a look by pressing his face all the way against the tiny screen of my somewhat new camera. I wait for him to be an adult and actually look. After another 10 or 15 seconds of him looking in various parts of the camera that are not the lens, he finally gives up and sees it. Oh, God, Pete says, disturbed. That jelly has a face. I know, I say cathartically. Since when do jellyfish have faces? They don't, I say, still somewhat cathartic, but more scared. I know it's just a weird angle, but that jellyfish seriously looks like it has a face. Yeah. I got a seasonal job in Nantucket to take photos for the local paper. A sweet gig considering it got me and Pete our own free tiny apartment for the whole summer. Pete was ecstatic. Free place to crash in Nantucket? He'd be able to pick up an occasional bartending shift. I'd make a couple bucks taking photos and have something to add on to my less than stellar resume. Plus, Nantucket? Sweet. Not sweet, however, was this dang photo. I couldn't stop staring at it. My camera works underwater. The first weekend we were here, I spent about 4 hours snorkeling and taking any shots of living creatures I could find. Most of them were serene, except for this one, of a jellyfish, rising to the surface, and then, due to, I have to guess, the way the light hit it just right, gave the illusion of it having a face, a human face, an evil human jellyfish face. Well, actually, it wasn't an evil face. It was just sort of plain. But that just made it more hypnotic. That this thing actually felt as if it was looking at me. Is that jellyfish looking at me? That's what I said. The editor of the local paper, Shaw, is squinting his face inches from the computer screen. He has the exact same face I had. He tilts his head and takes a step back as if it's some sort of 3D painting. He calls one of the writers of the paper to come in and see this as he continues to stare. That is so creepy. I know, I say. Colleen, the writer, comes in and looks. When she bends down for a closer inspection, her eyes nearly bulge out of her skull. Shaw and Colleen have about 10 years on me. Late 30s, married, living the life I want, running the local paper for Nantucket. Back on the mainland, I'm packed with debt and anxiety. Here, I am carefree and creative, taking copious amounts of photos aimed at either beautiful places or happy people. It's July 4th weekend soon, and they want to promote the hell out of it. Not just for the locals. The locals are here. They know how good it is, how good they have it. This is more for the folks back on mainland, who don't know how good it is, who don't know how good we have it. Did you make the face? That was Colleen's question. I tell her I didn't. I wouldn't even know how. I don't tell them that part. I want to come across as invaluable. Indispensable. Invincible? Not invincible. That's a bit much. But I want to leave this summer and have them think that they can't run the paper without me. I want to be the Woodward and Bernstein of Nantucket. All my other pictures are really lovely. It's easy with Nantucket. On land or underwater, it's an easy place to promote. Is that a man-o-war? Colleen asks. No, Shaw says. Lion's mane. Shaw and Colleen seem to disagree slightly on what kind of jellyfish this is. They're both putting their fingers up to the screen and dissecting the look of it. Man-o-war is the only term that sounds familiar. I know enough to know that they're bad. Painful stings, bigger. Lion's mane are also painful, as I'm now learning. Maybe it's just the name. Man-o-war. Intense. Way more intense than lion's mane. Who comes up with these? Pretty big discrepancy if we're going just by names. This debate resolves by both agreeing that they don't really know what they're talking about. Shaw suggests putting this photo on the cover of the paper. It's so odd. It'll be fun for people to speculate. I'm not going to argue. One day later, Jellyfish was on the cover. Jellyfish are taking over the world. I'm researching jellyfish facts because I can't get this dang jellyface out of my head. The jelly facts are disturbing, to say the least. I'm rattling them off to my boyfriend as he lays on the love seat reading his book, looking like I want to look. For 500 million years, jellyfish have been part of the maritime ecosystem, but now they're poised to take over the earth. They have no brain, no eyes, no spine, not even blood, but they have a remarkable capacity to reproduce and can pack an impressive sting, both literally and figuratively. June of last year, over the course of 1 week, over 1,000 people were stung in Volusia County, Florida, following a period of exceptionally prolific jellyfish blooms. The explosion in their numbers had been attributed to warming seas and even increased pollution. Unlike many other marine creatures, jellyfish can cope with reduced oxygen levels. Typically, jellyfish range in size from 1 centimeter to 40 centimeters, but they can be significantly larger. The lion's mane jellyfish, for example, can reach 1.8 meters wide with tentacles over 15 meters wide. Is that not disturbing? That these aliens are basically taking over the world? Babe? Pete wasn't paying attention. I can't blame him. I wish I didn't know any of what I know now. I ask a question which will get a response. Beach. That he heard, as evidenced by him springing up and shouting, "Let's go!" Pete is tanning and I'm still researching jellyfish. I was all excited to finally start this Richard Matheson book, and now I completely derailed myself. I have a tendency to throw myself down really creepy rabbit holes, such as sea creatures that look like aliens. Are we sure they're not aliens? No brain, no eyes, no spine, no blood, and they're gaining strength through adaptation. The beach is packed. I spent the whole weekend going around town taking pictures, so this is our first real moment to chill out and enjoy the sun. Pete is passed out. He can pass out anywhere. He could pass out on an asteroid as it was speeding towards the Earth. The only place I can sleep is bed. I don't know how he does it. 0 anxiety. I'm so jealous. One of the many reasons he's good for me, lowering my blood pressure. Okay, enough doom scrolling. I'm gonna read my book and relax like my better half. I open my Matheson, and within 3 minutes, I start to nod off. Not because of the book, it's because I haven't slept in about 3 days. A beach nap is just what the doctor ordered. I put the book down, and after about 6 seconds of peaceful sleep, I hear a scream. Everyone looks in the same direction. The ocean. It's tough to tell exactly where it's coming from. Some people get up, others just cup a hand over their eyes to get a clearer view. Finally, people are able to zero in on the origin of the commotion. There's a boy being carried toward the shore as the teenage lifeguard comes charging over. People are now mostly standing and taking a couple steps to see what's next. The boy is shaking with pain. There's too many onlookers and wannabe helpers standing around to see exactly what happened. But the boy is twitching as he lays on the ground. Another lifeguard comes over in his beach cart so that they can put the boy onto the back and zoom it out of there toward proper medical attention. His mother is crying as she hops on the back, followed by the dad who's running behind it, trying to keep pace. Brief chaos, and then everything kind of goes back to silence. Most of the beach has no idea what happened. The people nearby in the water are all standing idle. Me and Pete look at each other, hoping one of us has an answer. We don't. And then we hear a second scream.
Question: real estate in California. What the Seriously, can someone help? What's an escrow? What's an ARM? What is an REO? What is pre-approval? Can I get pre-approval? Why is inventory so low? Why are interest rates so high? Oh, interest rates not so high? How low is low? How not so high is right.
Before you go down the road of questions, get expert help at championsofhome.com. California Association of Realtors. Who's your realtor?
The Marin County Fair is back July 1st through 5th in San Rafael, and this year's theme, Stars, Stripes, and Stories, makes it one to remember. As America turns 250 and Marin County marks its 175th anniversary, the fair is bringing the whole community together for live concerts, nightly fireworks over the lagoon, carnival rides, fair food, and special activations, including a scavenger hunt and a community paper patchwork quilt. Discounted tickets are available through June 30th. Visit marinfair.org for info and tickets.
This episode is supported by Ring, because at the end of the day, your home is your sanctuary. And with Ring, it's protected. Whether you're across the house or across the country, keeping an eye on things shouldn't be a mystery. With the battery doorbell, you can keep track of your packages and see more of what's happening at your front door in real time. If you want to make sure your yard is safe at night, the Outdoor Cam Plus delivers a wide field of view and enhanced video clarity with Retinal 2K video. And for the ultimate in detail, you can upgrade to 4K cameras and doorbells featuring Retinal Vision. It gives you ultra-clear footage that actually lets you zoom in without losing those important details. The Ring system is helpful every single day. Like a lot of us, most of our shopping is done online. There's a certain peace of mind that comes with knowing exactly when a package arrives while you're busy at work or running errands. It's not just about the technology. It's about the relief of knowing your home is secure. It's incredibly easy to set up, and it gives you that extra layer of protection for what matters most. Your door, your yard, your home, your peace of mind. With Ring, it's protected. Shop cameras, doorbells, and more right now at ring.com.
There's nothing to worry about. That was the mayor's first line at the town hall. I was there to snap some photos. People were very nervous about the boy who died from a jellyfish sting. That's rare. From what I've heard, which isn't much, the kid got stung and had an allergic reaction. The jelly was a man-o'-war, a species I'm now way too familiar of because of my deranged deep dive. Discussions about the death were very touchy. The boy who died was a tad overweight, so in the eyes of certain town officials, his unhealthy lifestyle was the main culprit. The sting just tipped the scales, so to speak. This made Pete very upset. Even if these conversations were done in private, blaming the kid's weight for dying from a jellyfish sting drew a fire in his eyes I've never seen before. He was patiently waiting in line to scold the mayor for keeping the beach open this weekend. Mayor Hamilton. He was a real salesman, crafted out of waspy marble. Mayor Hamilton assured us that they were doing everything to assure that Nantucketers were safe. He went through the whole safety protocol using a PowerPoint presentation that could have used some pizzazz. Lifeguards and spotters would be scanning the water regularly. Barrier nets would be set up in the water to keep them at bay. Purple warning flags would be posted all along the beach. Stinger-resistant suits would be offered at local shops for a discount price. Lifeguard stations would be equipped with vinegar, hot water, sting kits, etc. Leaflets were being handed out to everyone at the town hall. There weren't any questions from the audience yet. Mayor Hamilton was taking his sweet time going through the safety procedures. That was not an accident. Less time for scolding. After about 20 minutes of softball questions, Mayor Hamilton left. His excuse was that he was going to personally set sail and help spotters look for jellyfish in the water so we can be overly prepared for this weekend, which would be jam-packed with visitors. It's the signature weekend of the year for a reason. Watching fireworks from the shores of Nantucket is a great way to spend your summertime. Pete was pissed. I snuck a photo of him waiting in line so we could laugh about it later. Much later, when he was much less mad at a mayor who didn't care. You want me to go? Shaw and Colleen were excited to have me tag along with some spotters and snap photos of the jellyfish. A boy dying was justifiably making locals nervous. They wanted to put a face to the culprit. Most people have a general sense of what jellyfish look like, but they don't know about the different species or which one are more dangerous than others. A common conversation being heard the days after the boy died was whether or not you could survive a sting. Would you go into cardiac arrest like he did? How do you know if you're allergic? Are you man enough to get back to the shore alive? It was getting dark. Pete was still pissed. Why keep the beaches open? Yeah, I'll go for sure. I was playing happy camper even though I was kind of nervous. A week ago, I wouldn't have cared in the slightest. A week can be a long time depending on the 7 days. Regardless of his biology, the kid had died. Not to mention my deranged deep dive had filled my head with way too much imagery that I'd love to delete. These mutant tentacle ghouls who wrap their stingy legs around you and stab? Gross! On average, 20 to 40 people die per year globally from jellyfish attacks, which is more than sharks, by the way. Sharks kill 5 to 10 people per year. But you can't turn around without bumping into a new horror movie about killer sharks. Nobody talks about jellyfish, who are way worse. Maybe they're controlling our minds. They are aliens. Me and Pete are eating out tonight. Every 10 seconds, one of us will look out into the ocean, and it is the definition of scenic. The sun is just starting to set, and there's a fantastic orange tint riding along the ocean surfside that is borderline breathtaking. Pete jokes that this might be the greatest dinner we will ever have. His eyes drift back to the ocean, and I wonder if he wasn't joking. Our view encapsulates our life at the moment. It's all in front of us. We're young, untethered, dining out on an island, ready to set sail. For 5 incredibly intense seconds, I contemplate proposing. I have no ring, and it would go against centuries of gender dynamics, but the thought crossed my mind. I tried to telepathically tell him to propose. I don't think he heard me. I think better of it when the waiter comes by to ask if we want another round of drinks. I say yes, finishing the one in front of me. That looks like a face. Right? The lifeguard spotter on this tiny boat who volunteered to set up a perimeter agrees that the photo does look like a jellyfish with a human face. He emphasizes by saying, "It's super creepy." Right? This lifeguard looks like Ken from Barbie while shaking his head and taking out binoculars. The waters are packed with boats, some tiny like ours, most much bigger, like the one that Mayor Hamilton is on. Everyone has binoculars except for me. I've got the camera. I'm taking pictures of people taking pictures. It's tough to see anything under the surface. The skies are gray and the waters are dark. Too dark for my liking, if I'm being honest. We all know that they're down there. The water is warm. The warmer the waters, the more likely that jellyfish are going to feel at home. I try and stay centered, afraid to even dip my hand into the ocean. Others are not so tepid. There are scuba divers who are getting prepped to head under and start alerting authorities for any blooms that they can spot. Blooms, for the novice, are large, sudden increases in jellyfish populations in a particular area of the ocean or coastal waters. They can number in the millions. Millions! The word paints a clear picture of terror. Can you imagine millions of jellyfish all swimming together? I can. It's the reason I tossed and turned last night. I downed a large coffee to wake me up this morning, and now my heart feels like it's going to slide out of my ass. The scuba divers hop under, and now everyone else is floating around, pointing, trying to seem as if they know what they're doing. I hope they do. I caught a photo of the dead boy's body. Just his torso and head. There were these deep red veins bubbling up around his skin. The ones around his neck made it look like as if he'd been hung. The photo was left on Shaw's desk, casually. When he came into his office, I could tell he had just puked. I'm surprised I didn't. Colleen was nowhere to be found that day. She was not a fan of the mayor, and this filled her with rage. I should have linked her up with Pete. They could team up and drag down this crackpot. Shaw's on another boat. I can see him asking lots of questions and trying not to fall over as he holds up his tiny recorder into the face of a marine biologist while their boat motors around. He has a cop on his boat. I've got a teenage lifeguard. And Bert, a bartender at Nautilus. I love that bar. Bert is a damn fine server who makes great conversation. But he's getting up there in age, and I can't say I feel cozy being sandwiched between two guys who feel very out of their depths. There's commotion over on the shore. People are pointing toward the sand. Panic sprints across everyone's eyes as they aim their binoculars in that direction. They were all huddled around something. He couldn't quite tell what it was. "Must be another body," Bert says, looking through his lens. "More than one, maybe. Good Lord." The mayor instructs his deluxe boat to head off to the shore. They're followed by a couple boats while other, less attention-seeking volunteers stick it out on the ocean. Our squad has been cut by a third. We hear a scream. An all-too-familiar sound recently. Everyone turns in the same direction again. One of the scuba divers has popped up to the surface. Motionless. Several boats dart over, including ours, which sends me back onto my butt as me and the teenage lifeguard hold on to our respective sides. Another boat gets there first, and they pick up the body to lift it out of the water. I do the only thing I can do to help. I document the scene with my camera. His suit has been torn to shreds. What slivers of skin remain visible show deep, bubbling red lines. The driver of that boat is screaming for help as he dumps vinegar all over the body. The EMT boat is flying towards us until we hear it. A second scream. Most of our eyes go sideways until we find the source. A second scuba diver, bobbing up to the surface, not moving. There are no slivers of skin on his suit to be seen because his body is covered with tentacles. Long, white, nearly translucent tentacles sliding up and around his neck. Bert tries to start the engine. Tries. It flutters. Son of a... Bert mutters while heading to the back of his boat. He looks down and immediately falls backwards, hitting his head on the back of the seat. Jesus Christmas! Bert sprung up with his ailing back and started screaming into the walkie that we needed transport. Teenage Kendall pokes his head over and then does a spot-on impersonation of Bert falling backwards. "They're all over the engine!" I tilt my head over the side of the boat. Teenage Kendall was wrong. They're not on the engine. They're everywhere. There were so many of these orange monsters surrounding us that it looked like someone lit the ocean floor below us on fire. We're in the middle of a bloom! "A what?" Ken and Bert ask. "A bloom! It's when a ton of jellyfish all travel together." Bert turned back to his walkie and started hollering that we were in the middle of a dang bloom and that we needed a dang transport. Teenage Ken doll made an astute observation that blooms are supposed to be nice. This was not nice. This was horrendous. I agreed, getting nauseous. An arm reached up from the water. Me and Ken screamed. It was a scuba diver, covered in them. He reached his arm out further as tentacles began sliding in and around his face mask. Bert turned around and tried to find a way to grab him. There was no inch of this unknown man's suit that was not drowning in tentacles. Slimy, fatal tentacles. I whipped off my shirt and then had him grab it, pulling as hard as I could until his body and the 75 jellyfish came on board. Ken and Bert began dousing him in vinegar while his body continued to twitch. He screamed in pain. Guttural, horrible screams. I could feel his sting just watching him hold on for dear life. I could recite the trajectory of pain by heart. Instant, searing pain comparable only to being electrocuted or burned with boiling oils. Whiplash-like agony as if you were being hit repeatedly with a red-hot metal cable. Intense burning as if fire was spreading across the skin deep into your muscle and nerves. Raised welts blistering all over your body. Violent, involuntary muscle spasms across your arms, legs, chest. Difficulty breathing. Cardiovascular shock. Overwhelming panic. Disorientation, sense of impending death, loss of control, incapacitation. He couldn't have been in our boat for more than 30 seconds before his body stopped twitching. Bert's walkie beeped again. The body on shore. The big body? It wasn't human. It was a whale. Say again? Did you say that was a whale? The people parted on shore. A whale was motionless in the sand. Just to be clear, I said loud enough for everyone to hear, jellyfish can't kill whales. Their skin is basically immune to jellyfish stings, or any stings for that matter. I hope you're right, kid, Bert said. Me too, said Ken. Box jellyfish? That's what Karen, the marine biologist, is saying with a question mark as she sits at Shaw's desk looking through the photos of the dead scuba divers that I took yesterday. She tells us that this doesn't make any sense. The skin reaction would indicate it's from a box jellyfish, the most venomous animal in the world. Shaw asks if that's true. The most venomous animal in the world? Yes, I say. Chironex fleckeri. People who are stung typically die from cardiac arrest within 2 or 3 minutes. But they live in Australia, Southeast Asia, the other side of the world. What are they doing here? Everyone looks at me confused by my instant knowledge. Even I'm taken aback by my jellyfish fact. Deep diving, I tell them, ending the awkward silence. Warmer waters, Colleen says, questioning her statement. They're migrating. I wait for Karen to correct her, to tell her how wrong she is, to put a lid on my panic. She doesn't. In fact, she pours my panic into the blender and loads it up with anxiety and dread. If they're in our water, this close to the shoreline, Karen says before covering her mouth. Should we call someone? Shaw asks. For the first time, Karen turns away from the photo and back to us. Yeah, she said. Call everyone.
Question: real estate in California. What the f? Seriously, can someone help? What's an escrow? What's an ARM? What is an REO? What is pre-approval? Can I get pre-approval? Why is inventory so low? Why are interest rates so high? Oh, interest rates not so high? How low is low? How not so high is right.
Before you go down the road of questions, get expert help at championsofhome.com. California Association of Realtors. Who's your realtor?
The Marin County Fair is back July 1st through 5th in San Rafael, and this year's theme, Stars, Stripes, and Stories, makes it one to remember. As America turns 250 and Marin County marks its 175th anniversary, the fair is bringing the whole community together for live concerts, nightly fireworks over the lagoon, carnival rides, fair food, and special activations, including a scavenger hunt and a community paper patchwork quilt. Discounted tickets are available through June 30th. Visit marinfair.org for info and tickets.
Your wedding begins here. You've found your person. Now find your perfect place. Welcome to Marin County, where your love story meets its perfect setting. Exchange vows beneath ancient redwoods on a sun-kissed beach or overlooking the sparkling San Francisco Bay. Whether you're planning an intimate elopement or a grand affair, Marin offers the space and the spirit to make your wedding uniquely yours. Discover where forever begins at visitmarin.org and explore the weddings page for details.